October, big month. 2 reasons. Social Security increase, just out. Hot off the presses. Number 2, Medicare sign-ups. Lots going on. A lot of confusing items out there for people. But don't worry. We're going to make it easy for you on our next Straight Talk. Let's go. Hello, this is Michael Loftus with Wealth and Wisdom TV, where education is the key to a successful financial future. First time here, I am a practicing financial advisor. On our channel, you will find market updates, latest rate up here, link below as well. We've got an outside the box thinking. We are not your typical buy and hold shop. We also do a lot of educational videos like you're going to see today through our Straight Talk series. Speaking of that, we are also launching today as well a new podcast. Here's what we've got coming up. Risk tolerance, should I pay off our house? Mutual funds versus ETFs. Going to be having 2 of those a month. So, as I mentioned, right now, this month, big month, we've got Social Security. We are having a 8.7% increase. A lot of people will be happy about that. Of course, we do have a increase on CPI, still at 8.3%. But at least we're getting a real nice increase. Last year we got a nice increase, but we had some issues because Medicare went up. I did a full video on that about why Medicare went up. I'm not going to get into that. I'll put a link here and below as well. So Medicare sign-up season is really important for a lot of our clients, whether you're new to it or out there shopping. Okay, so I thought I would bring in an expert. Yes, I'm licensed, but no, I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. Just like when I work with accountants and lawyers, I like to work with those experts. So I am bringing in Brian MacArthur. Hello, Brian. How you doing today?
Good, Michael. Thank you for having me.
You are the Medicare professional expert today, so thanks for joining us. So first off, tell us about yourself and your company.
So my name's Brian MacArthur. I have about 22 years in experience in the financial services sector, way more on your side of the business for the first 15 years. About 7 years ago, I got really dangerous about Medicare. I had just seen a lot of well-intentioned education directed at the financial advisor community about Medicare. I just didn't see a lot of results, and I've always been focused on working with financial advisors and have built something called the Medicare execution process to help bring financial advisors and their clients together to get an actual result related to Medicare under the watchful eye of the advisor, and make sure the advisor can reflect those results in the financial plan.
Okay, great. So my understanding, you're licensed in every state but just a few, and even if that comes up, you can easily get licensed. So most important, our clients that are primarily here in the Mid-Atlantic region in Florida. If they need assistance, of course, they can reach out to Brian. You see his website address there below. So hopefully you'll get some questions. So I put together a couple questions here that from some clients. I asked them to forward some questions and a couple thoughts myself. So let's just, in generality, talk about what is Medicare and who it's for.
Yeah, so, before I answer that, I always like to point out that, well, number one, everybody's eligible at 65. That doesn't mean everybody enrolls at 65. 65 is not old anymore. People work until it stops being fun. Everybody feels healthier than they thought. But 65 is when everybody's eligible. And the shame of the industry, I think, is the fact that all of the marketing that the industry does directed at 64-year-olds. That's when the mail starts. You start getting more mail than you can possibly imagine. It's all fear-based marketing, Michael. It's all deadlines, penalties, consequences. Those are possible, usually not very probable. And the reason I bring that up before answering your question directly is the fact that the industry tries to make Medicare scary. I'm here to tell you it's actually usually good news to great news relative to whatever health insurance you were on prior to Medicare. So Medicare is really good news. I think that's important for people to understand. ultimately the government covers about 80% of your medical bills and none of your meds. There's a modest cost for that in most cases, and then there's some insurance options that you need to cover the other 20% and get prescription drug coverage.
Okay, great. So let's talk about a couple questions here on my end. When you look at this, obviously the expense, so I do a financial plan. It's money in, money out, surplus, deficit, right? But, talk about it and fitting into a financial plan and your thoughts and your experience.
Well, look, I'm not here to tell you it's the most important part of the financial plan, but when it's important, it's really important because health care and health insurance is probably pretty low on, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the pyramid, right? We got to make sure we're taken care of and, and that we're healthy. Ultimately what I'd say is it's not important until it's important. Once you get to about 64, whether you're going to enroll in Medicare or not at 65, pretty much everybody benefits and appreciates a gentle introduction to Medicare to start figuring this stuff out. And like I said, the benefits are actually very, very good news relative to what people are used to. If we, start talking about how that's weaved into the financial planning process, Medicare is a pretty good deal relative to the full cost of other health insurance, but it's not free. It's going to run a couple $100 a month for most of your clients. It's not the biggest bill they're going to have in retirement, but it's going to be there forever, Michael. And depending on what insurance options they choose, some of those insurance premiums might increase. So it's definitely worth planning for.
All right, Brian. So obviously in my intro, I talked about some changes, Social Security, and also Medicare. Last year, not going to get into it again. You watch a video, had a big increase because of the Alzheimer's drug. So as you look forward to 2023, one, what kind of changes are you seeing? Number two is, let's make sure everyone's aware of the sign-up period and who should be signing up at this time.
Well, let's start with those two. Obviously, if you're turning 65 in any month, that creates an initial election period to go on Medicare for the first time. If you're over 65 and you're just deciding to retire, a lot of people retire at the end of the year, but not everybody. You'll get a special election period to set up Medicare any time of the year that you retire. The open enrollment season, which is starting tomorrow, is October 15th to December 7th. That's most important for somebody who's already on Medicare and is contemplating doing a review to see if there's any changes they should make. As far as what is new in Medicare this year, in the interest of time, I'll tell you that most of the conversations I'm having with people lately, Michael, are about Medicare Advantage PPO plans. Historically, Medicare Advantage plans in many major metropolitan areas were HMOs. Now there's starting to be an abundance of PPO plans. And it's felt kind of like Goldilocks' porridge. There's still no monthly premium, but you can have a PPO. So I'm having a lot of conversations with people from HMOs wanting to move to PPOs and Medicare supplement plans that have monthly premiums. And a lot of those people, because prices are increasing in every part of our life, are contemplating maybe moving to a PPO Medicare Advantage plan because there's no monthly premium.
Got it. Okay, so when you're talking about, again, being on both sides of the business, when you get to the financial planning aspect of it, what other items come up when you're talking about Medicare with clients?
Right. So, in this little part of the financial plan that I get involved in, what I have observed is that once we get towards into the Medicare enrollment, and especially at the end, the topic that people will bring up to me most often tends to be long-term care planning. And that's just proven to me that that's the topic sitting on a shelf in their head right next to Medicare, which I think makes sense. They're both related to, health care. I would encourage anybody to have a conversation with their financial advisor about long-term care planning before age 65, but it doesn't always happen, and there are ways to address that risk. But that's the topic that tends to come up most often, in my experience, around the same time as the Medicare enrollment.
Well, timely. We actually just put out a video last Monday, I think. It's up to about 9,000 views. This is Long-Term Care Month. So even as a financial planner, yes, this is something we do. I manage money, but I agree with you. I think it should be part of the plan. talked about Alzheimer's. I was involved with Alzheimer's because of my dad, and you can't save enough sometimes for some of those things that pop up. So you said a couple of times supplement and advantage. I remember when I was going through and getting licensed, just all the differences, probably why I didn't do it, and because there's too much, and I'd rather focus on what I'm good at. So what are the difference between that supplement and advantage plan?
Yeah, so both options will, generally speaking, cover the 20% of your medical bills that the government does not cover, and they'll both get you prescription drug coverage. Really, the way I would explain it is a Medicare supplement plan. Nothing in a Medicare supplement plan says PPO, but it's going to feel like probably one of the best PPOs you've ever had. There is a monthly premium. You can go see any doctor in the country who takes regular old Medicare, which is about 98% of them, from what I understand, without a referral. So again, it feels like a PPO. It's actually even better than a PPO because there are no networks to worry about. So a doctor in Florida won't cost you any more than a doctor in Seattle. So you really have full autonomy to go get the best specialist for you wherever they are in the country. There is a monthly premium for that, and most people have very low out-of-pocket expenses. So that is very appealing to a lot of clients of a financial advisor like you. Medicare Advantage plans are the only other way to skin that cat, if you will. Those usually have no monthly premiums. Not all of them, but a lot of them. That does not mean it's crummy coverage, Michael. It's actually fantastic coverage. What's happening is the government's getting involved to pay the insurance company to take care of you, and they pay the insurance companies really well. And those are network-based plans, as HMOs and PPOs. And the coverage by most people's standards would probably still be an improvement over what they were used to prior to being on Medicare.
So again, I think this is great. We can only touch on so many topics today. You see Brian's website here, designmymedicare.com. And again, he can help people all around the country. I know we have viewers on our YouTube channel from all around the country. So please reach out to him. And what's your phone number, just so we have it?
The best phone number is 619-374-0096. I never tell anybody what to do. I just tell you what works best. Probably the best thing is to go to Design My Medicare. There's a link in the upper right corner where you can just choose a day and time when you'd like me to call you. It goes right into my calendar, and I treat it like a sport to call people the exact minute they ask me to. That usually works best.
That out as we were scheduling this. So, all right, let's wrap it up here. So yesterday I mentioned CPI came out hot. Inflation is on everybody's mind. In what you do and when you consult with people, is there anything you can do to help with the inflation side of things, hedge, or any ideas or thoughts?
I tell you, I think the best strategy for hedging inflation within the Medicare arena would be, and it could be meaningful. So if there's people out there with Medicare supplement plans, again, they're paying those monthly premiums for good reason. It's really wonderful coverage. If there is a PPO Medicare Advantage plan in your area and your doctors are in network, you can take that, and you've never been on a Medicare Advantage plan before, there is something called a Medicare Advantage trial right, where you can take a Medicare Advantage PPO plan that may have no monthly premium for a spin for 2023. And if you do that for just 1 year, you actually have guaranteed re-entry back into your supplement for 2024. So one, you might like the Medicare Advantage plan way more than you thought you would have when you got on Medicare, because now there's PPOs. Number two, you get to take a break from those monthly premiums for a year. Depends on the part of the country, Michael, but if somebody's been on Medicare with a Medicare supplement for a couple of years, they could be paying $200 a month for the supplement and the drug plan. Times two spouses is $400 a month. Times 12 months is $4,800 in potential annual premium savings in 2023, while inflation is high, without losing the ability to come right back to that Medicare supplement plan that you chose quite intentionally. You might come back, you might not, but it's actually a pretty low risk way to take a break from monthly premiums, still have PPO coverage, and come back to what you like so much if you want to do that.
So again, we can only handle so many questions today. So go to Brian's website. You could fire some questions below. If I don't know the answer, I'll forward it on to Brian as well. So we've got Brian MacArthur from DesignMyMedicare.com. Michael Loftus, Wealth and Wisdom TV. Again, this is what we try and do. Educate, communicate. I know this is an important topic. I also know I'm not the expert. That's why I brought in the expert today. So thank you so much for watching. Hope to see y'all soon. Take care.